Bonjour, Falake.
Bonjour.
How are you doing?
I'm fine.
And red today.
Yes.
Ça vous va très bien.
Another Valentine's is here.
Just to remind you, actually.
Oof. No comment.
Yeah,
No,
I don't have a comeback.
There's
for that.
nothing. Don't do
No
that.
comment. Alors, plus que 5 jours avant les élections présidentielles aux États-Unis,
Yes.
et vous nous parlez des relations
Yes.
États-Unis-Afrique.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'll be speaking about Africa-US relation. Americans travel to Africa for various reasons, and many to trail the history of slavery and to reconnect to their roots. This is mostly done by African Americans who are really curious about their African identity. To achieve this, they visit mostly the West Coast, West African coast, and the most frequented places are places like Ghana, Burkina Faso, Mali, Togo, Benin Republic. And why does visit, you may ask? Well, to see the slave castles and forts, and to have great history of slavery of years ago. Other Americans travel for business, to establish their businesses. As we know, Africa has some of the fastest growing economies, viable economies, and so now American institutions seek to expand the continent and sometimes seek partnership. Don't be surprised if I tell you that some Americans come for job opportunities. Yes, they do come to the continent for job opportunities, as they are better treated here as expatriates than home. Well, most Westerners do that, basically, yeah.
Le statut d'expatrié, I mean, being an expatriate in Africa is quite...
fruitful. It's quite lucrative.
Yes, indeed it is. And so now some Americans, have come to discover the natural beauty of the continent, and therefore they visit for the sake of natural tourism, or ecotourism, as they call it. In some other regions, in Ghana and South Africa, for example, we have some students who do exchange courses, American students from American universities who come to Africa to do exchange courses in some part of, like in Ghana, like I said. And a lot of them do this for cultural experiences. On the other hand, we have Africans who travel to America largely for economic reasons, in quotes, for greener pasture, as we have better social system there. Other Africans head to America for education, or for a better education, like I said earlier on. There's some students who do go there for exchange courses. And so like we have Americans coming to Africa for these courses. Yeah. So we have some Africans to go into America for the same purpose. All said and done, what are our viewers saying as regard this? What's their perception as regard the influence of US on the African continent and vice versa? And we have some responses on the social media. The first one is from Facebook, and it's from Faith Osondo. And she said, I think they have encouraged travel to Africa by building up profitable companies, establishing NGOs in Africa, which pull in thousands of volunteers into many countries in the continent, and also the power of their passport in many countries. Many countries give them easy entry. Africans do so by going to the US for holidays, education, and greener pasture. Still on Facebook, we have from Ifeanyi Charles Nwoko, who wrote a very lengthy one there, saying travel and tourism generated $7 trillion in 2014 of the global economy, and the US Nigeria route has proven to be profitable in both nations, with increased movements of Nigerians to US, specifically students, tourists and professionals taking part of various US categories to explore and walk and tour the United States. With AGOA actually coming up in 2000, there have also been increase of trade opportunities on Sub-Saharan market to sell goods directly to the US market. He wrote on and said it has not been rosy, issues crop up occasionally and hamper the movement of people, such as difficulties in accessing visas and terrorism, the increasing costs of air travel there.
Yes, I have to second what Faith there said about, visa.
Yeah, that's a reality.
It's so much more easier, we talked about this a few months ago.
As we are talking about all the tous les avantages pour voyage en Amérique, we have to talk about also the ills about these travelings, because you find an American, when he comes here, or a European comes to Africa, they have it easy.
Yes.
They start from here.
Yeah.
While I travel myself, I am an anchor on a very good show, a Pan-African channel. If I go to America right now to start looking for a job, I have to start from ground zero and probably go back to school to try and familiarize myself with the American system of school. Like, I can't just go directly into the system. However much, probably my education system was a little bit superior to that probably someone wants to put me in.
Absolutely. What about the question of some Africans? It's easier for some Americans to come down to Africa, to several African countries, but some Africans find it easier moving around their own continent.
Yeah,
these are the questions.
Non, mais ça c'est un véritable problème.
The visa index found out that 45% of Americans, it's easier for 45% of the Western countries to come to Africa than it is for the 10% of Africans.
Mais je pense que c'est des mesures que nos dirigeants et nos pays en eux-mêmes doivent travailler, tenter d'améliorer.
Let's hope so. With the visa, with the...
De toute façon, like, everybody knows visas are all about bilateral agreements. Donc, si vous ne mettez pas en place des mesures d'échange pour la libre circulation des personnes, évidemment, on ne va pas avancer. And that's also like sort of a... It will help with integration.
Well, we have an interesting tweet here from Kule Babs, who said U.S. has influenced tourism to Africa negatively. They have tagged Africa as unsafe zone because of Boko Haram, Al-Shabaab, and ISIS. He further said U.S. issued travel warnings to their citizens about traveling to certain parts of Africa. Kenyan tourism has gone down for this reason.
Well, yeah, you remember Kenya is a hotbed of terror when Obama was traveling to the country.
Yes.
And this is like this is an African man that does maybe he's hated in the Middle East, but I don't think he's hated that much in Nairobi, you know?
No, absolutely not.
That's not true.
Absolutely not. Well, what about continuity as well? What about the legacies, like you said?
It's going to be personal opinion. I think it's going to take time. Just like Martin Luther King said, I have a dream. I want to see the sons and daughters of my fellow countrymen sitting together and all that. Well, I hope one day it's going to be, you know what, let me just get on a plane and fly to the States, come back over the weekend without somebody asking me about my financial history and asking me if I will want to come back to my home. You know, the UK ask you that.
If you're a terrorist.
The good African. Yeah, those are the terrorists.
If I'm a terrorist.
Yeah, they call them the good Africans. If you go back, they call you,
oh, these are good Africans.
Yes.
Just having to like be in that different line, the all passports line.
I mean, look at the map. Come on, look at how could it be? Just that distance.
And the map of Africa on these a lot of maps. The African continent is normally given a smaller. It's bigger. It's bigger than Europe and a lot of countries in Europe.
Much together. That's true.
Yeah. D'accord. Bah, écoutez, on pourrait débattre pendant des heures. Vraiment, merci beaucoup.
We can debate on this.